Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this, the first of the GovTech Catalyst webinars. My name is Nick Tate. I am the head of the GovTech Catalyst team here at Government Digital Service. What we're covering today is a quick recap on what the Catalyst is, a brief overview of the process itself, I'll look at the challenges and how they are evaluated in a little bit more detail, including what we've changed since last time, challenge round 1. Some time for questions from your good selves, and then we'll move on to what to expect next. So to introduce the GovTech Catalyst, I think it's fair to say that government tends to be bad at embracing change and notoriously slow at adopting technology. But we've got some important stuff to solve together that affects people exactly where they live. At the same time, even a tech company with a great idea has a hard time selling into government because it takes a long time and government isn't great at dealing with risk or novelty. So we'll unglue the process a bit. We'll help the government body think about the problem rather than leaping to solutions. We'll introduce the players. We'll give the public body some money to experiment with a few things that are out there and simultaneously find out what works. We'll get the projects set up that are grounded in user needs, give them the best chance of success, and then step back and see what happens. So what is the GovTech Catalyst? Well, the GovTech Catalyst supports public sector organizations to find innovative solutions to operational service and policy delivery challenges. GovTech Catalyst competitions help the public sector identify and work with, Right, we're on the same page now, I believe. Thank you, kind assistants. So what is the GovTech Catalyst, to recap on that part? As I said, the GovTech Catalyst supports public sector organizations to find innovative solutions to operational service and policy delivery challenges. The Catalyst competitions help the public sector identify and work with cutting-edge technology firms. The £20 million GovTech Fund itself, awarded via competitions, provides support to define, develop, test and assess and access creative solutions to complex public sector problems. The GovTech Catalyst supports the public sector to make innovative use of emerging technologies to improve public efficacy, increase public sector productivity, and grow the GovTech sector itself. Slight technical hitch. So let's talk about what sort of challenges are accepted into the GovTech Catalyst Fund. If you can already buy the solution, it's not for the GovTech Fund. It's not for things with an obvious route to procurement. Second, the fund is set up to investigate how we can help shape a product or a service that meets the need using the emerging technology sector. It doesn't fund in-house development itself. Thirdly, it's to work on difficult problems in the public sector itself. It's got to be viable for the business and the department, and of course, best value for the public sector. And the solution has to have a potential to scale. This is about a real problem that affects people widely. So can you give me some examples, I hear you ask? Well, yes, I can. So this is the challenge. How might we identify, analyze, and catalogue still images that are posted online. This was submitted by the Home Office in challenge round 1. The problem is about identifying Daesh still images. These images are made in a distributed way. Most shares on social happen in the first hour or so here speed is the absolute key. The current practice solution takes a few hours to notify the social platforms, and this challenge aims to reduce the timescales. Second example is from DEFRA, which is how might we use emerging technologies to improve the tracking of waste. So how do we understand the waste that we produce as a society better? Can we use emerging technologies to identify waste, to set up the pyramid of recycling, reuse and reapplication? It's currently a very complicated and lengthy system. This problem is about exploring this space and perhaps breaking it down into smaller, more workable and manageable chunks. The third, submitted by Monmouthshire Council in Wales, which is a joint bid between two parts of the County Council. How might we combat loneliness by helping our communities to help each other in a digitally and transport deprived area? This is a very real problem about people moving to the country and feeling isolated. The need is for social interaction in digitally deprived areas and in age groups. The fourth example submitted by Department for Transport and the Royal Borough of Greenwich. How might we tackle traffic congestion using data and emerging technologies? So there's an absolute ton of different data sets with regards to traffic congestion, but no one has as yet found a manageable way of looking at these holistically. So the challenge is, how can we plan and how can we do this better? And the fifth and final example was a joint bid submitted by Durham County Council and Blanell Gwent County Council. How might we better target local services by using sensors on fleet vehicles in order to make better decisions for our citizens? There are potholes, the need to know when to spread grit in the wintertime, to identifying incidents that may have an impact on old and vulnerable citizens. So those are a few examples for you to have a think about. So how does this all work? So now you should be seeing an overall picture of the process. And typically the call for public sector challenges goes out first. That's what we're involved in now. The submitted challenges are then received by the GovTech Catalyst team, and thereafter they're reviewed and assessed. These challenges are turned into competitions, and then companies, not-for-profit organizations and social enterprises can respond to those competitions. The responses are evaluated and assessed by a panel, and then up to 5 companies will be chosen and funded in order for them to show feasibility to tackle the challenges set by the public sector bodies. Then again, these feasibility outputs are evaluated, and at this stage, up to 2 companies are then funded for continued development, so of an alpha or a prototype, if you like. And at the end of the process, the entire public sector can now buy the solutions that the tech companies have come up with. So that's a very high-level overview of the process itself. Just to recap, the phase 1 had, will result in 5 companies having a 12-week period in which they'd be awarded around £50,000 each. And phase 2 has up to 2 companies funded for a year with up to £500,000 each. So how are the challenges themselves evaluated? So we've refined this to 4 evaluation criteria and 10 questions that we would like you to answer. In round 1, the application form itself was heavy on descriptive policy and solutions, and we didn't feel that we got enough detail about the users and the problems themselves. Some of the scoring categories overlapped, and market potential itself was very vague to score, especially as we were at the problem describing stage. The new questions ask you to walk us through the users themselves, the impact on your organization, your learnings, and what you can put into it. We feel you should have done enough research and exploratory work for a supplier to start working on a number of potential solutions. In service design terms, you should have done a discovery before submitting a challenge. The evaluation itself is now a 2-part process. Firstly, is this right for GovTech itself? Yes or no? This is regardless of merit. Is the challenge about technological innovation or process innovation? Is this a £1 million sized problem? Do we expect to move the needle with £1.25 million worth of cash? Would we get to a viable product that can demonstrably meet the needs that other people that can then buy? Then there are 3 weighted criteria: demonstration of user needs, the understanding of the market itself, and your team's capacity. What we're looking for is a demonstration of evidenced, clear user needs within the scope of public policy, an understanding of the market, including approaches that have been tried in the past in order to demonstrate the opportunity for innovation itself. And then a demonstration of an empowered client-side team with sufficient time, money, and people available to invest in the solution and the plans to procure that product. Bearing in mind that you'll need, if successful, you'll need to manage 5 contracts, make data available to suppliers, and essentially have a team in place that can be intelligent and available to the client. So that was quite a speedy run through. Now we're in a position, I think, to take some questions, which we're going to do via email. So the email is inquiries-gtc at digital.cabinet-office.gov.uk. We'll answer these as best we can now, and we'll be collating these and then block publishing them on gov.uk along with this presentation after the webinar, so that it's there for your reference. So whilst you're having a think about and hopefully sending us some questions, here are a couple that you may be asking. Firstly, when can I submit my idea? So round 2 call for challenges is currently open and closes on Monday the 25th of June. You might be asking, where can I find more information? Funnily enough, on gov.uk itself at /gds/GTC-challenges. All the information is on gov.uk, and you can email us at the address I just shared now, and that's there on the screen, with any specific questions if you can't find the answers in the guidance. So we are now going to take some questions. So please bear with us as we formulate some good answers to the questions that are coming in, and we'll be with you in a moment. So here we are again, and the first question we've received in is are open source platforms encouraged? Our answer to that would be yes. Evaluations of the competitions will include whether the solutions adhere to GDS Technology Code of Practice and Government Service Standard, which does actively encourage open source platforms. So the next question we've received says, I'd like to know more about how we can learn about the solutions to the shortlisted challenges. The first shortlisted challenge from the Home Office is running at the moment. We envisage that the phase 1 contracts will be awarded in late September, and then research and development will begin. A good way of finding more about the solutions is either to contact us here at GovTech Challenge Inquiries, or indeed come along to the GovTech meetups that we've kicked off a couple of weeks ago. And if you have a look on the website, you'll see the dates for the next ones, which are going to be in Wales, Scotland, Ireland, and then back in London on October the 9th, where we are planning a GovTech conference in central London. But for specific questions around solutions to the shortlisted challenges, we can act as facilitator for some of those questions if you have them. The next question we've received is, will you be sharing copies of the slides, please? Absolutely, yes, we will. We'll add the slides, the questions we've been asked, and a transcript of the copy, as well as a copy of the webinar itself will be on our area on Gov.UK. Questions are coming in quite thick and fast, and we're just ensuring that our answers are clear. So if you'd bear with us, please. The next question we've received is, does it need to be a collaborative bid? No, it doesn't. However, this is encouraged. Two of the winning challenges in the present round were collaborations, thus demonstrating that a user need in one area or one department could be reflected or mirrored in another part of government or indeed another part of the country. So strictly, no, it doesn't, but yes, it is encouraged. The next question we've received says, how much input does the challenge owner have in evaluation of the challenge? Plenty. The organisation which owns the challenge selects the winning suppliers. The GovTech team has a seat on the panel, but the decision is the challenge owners. And if you are to win a challenge, then you'll work quite closely and be supported by the GovTech team in setting up your assessment panel, working with Innovate UK, and so on. So the challenge owning organisation has a lot of input and indeed a fair amount of work to do, but you'll receive ample support from the team here at GDS. The next question we've received says, and quotes, the entire public sector can now buy solutions, and the question to that point is, how can you stop these companies overcharging and costing the public sector too much? As a part of the SBRI process, you are able to negotiate free use of the successful solution that is developed as a result of the process. In the longer term, as emerging technologies become more widely adopted, more suppliers will be able to enter the market and pricing will become more competitive, we feel. It's worth adding that we strongly encourage a diverse range of suppliers to apply in that part of the process. Another question, and thank you for continuing to send these, says, is there a general guide to the sort of length of the answers? For this round, we have not restricted word count on the answers, and would recommend that you answer the questions as clearly and concisely as you can. Try to include as much detail so that somebody who doesn't know anything about the problem can easily understand it. But of course, try and keep it short and to the point. And a further question, can you explain the end procurement process? Does it have to be the challenge owner who procures, or can it be local government or those who need the service? So the idea is that the entire public sector can buy the solutions at the end of the process. We aim for these pilots to become viable products and service. We envisage that the challenge owner who has the need will, in light terms, buy the product or the service at the outcome, and then it will become available to the wider public sector. The next question we've received, and we've got a couple more to go through. What is the timescale for turning an accepted challenge into a competition? It will take a few weeks. The assessment challenges, announcement of winners, etc., takes about 12 weeks. And then the five successful challenges are released for competition each month. So as an example of the timeline for this question, the identifying Daesh still imagery opened on the 14th of May and runs to the 27th of June. The competition itself opened on the 14th of May. There was a briefing event on the 18th of May. We expect registration to close on the 20th of June. The competition itself closes on the 27th of June. Applicants are then notified on the 31st of August. And then phase one contracts, if this all runs to plan, are to be awarded around the 30th of September 2018. So it's quite a lengthy process, and between each of those bullets, milestones, if you will, there are activities that we'll work out with the challenge owners at the time. But that's a high-level view for you there. I hope that's useful. So as we wait for questions to be answered, I just thought I'd take this opportunity to talk you through some standard questions that we've asked, or been asked rather. So there is a question around, is there a preferred template for the submission? We're asking that you need to submit a clear and concise answers by email to the 10 questions that are found on Gov.UK. And then should you be successful, then the move to the fuller SBRI process will involve some more paperwork. Similarly, we're often asked, can I discuss my challenge submission with you? The GovTech Catalyst team, we're not currently set up to provide bespoke advice in an open and transparent way, and would ask that you email us at the inquiries email address if you're unclear on any of the evaluation criteria. And another similar question we get asked is around our communications. Will we be blogging about our process and our progress? Yes, we will. If you'd like to keep your eyes on the GDS blog, which you can find at gds.blog.gov.uk, and indeed Twitter at the handle at GDS team, we'll be updating that regularly. This is a good question we've just received. Can you give us an idea of a good submission? What does it look like? Is it just submitting responses to the 10 questions? So as touched on before, a good submission can and should clearly explain a problem, explain the user needs the service is trying to meet, and demonstrate that this insight has come from an evidence base. A good submission itself would clearly explain why the solution can't be found via an existing route to market, such as digital outcomes and specialist frameworks or G-Cloud, or why those existing solutions do not meet your needs. Finally, a good submission would demonstrate how the challenge owner will be able to support the challenge should they be successful. The structured 10 questions will be able to help you do that. So that's it for the questions that we've received that we're comfortable in answering now. We've received another that we're going to have to put a bit of thought to, but that will form part of our Q&A that we publish, as we said earlier, on gov.uk as a part of the pack that we'll be putting up as a result of this webinar. So we're just going to give, it's now 10:07 by my watch, we're going to give it till 10 past 10. So if you have any last minute questions, now's the time to get them in. Otherwise, we'll be drawing things to a close in about 3 minutes. So that's all the questions we've received, and thank you very much for sending those to us. And thank you indeed for joining us this morning for this webinar. As we've said, and just to recap, we will be publishing all of the outputs of this on our website. And to close, we just remind you that the round 2 call for challenges is currently open and closes on Monday, the 25th of June, 2018. So on that note, unless we've got any late breaking questions, which we don't appear to have, I'll say thank you very much for joining us from the GovTech Catalyst team to you all. Thank you, and have a great day. Cheers. Bye-bye.